Welcome back to NT Coins World, where we dive into the fascinating world of coin collecting, history, and numismatic treasures. Today we have two incredible Lincoln cents that are not only steeped in history, but also have significant value in the coin collecting world. We'll take a deep dive into the details of the 1968 and 1970 Lincoln cents in fine condition. Two coins that are often overlooked, but can be quite valuable when you know what to look for. So grab your magnifying glass and let's get started. First up, we have the 1968 Lincoln cent. To fully appreciate its value, it's essential to understand the historical context surrounding this coin. The 1968 Lincoln cent was struck in a time of change, as the US was undergoing significant shifts both socially and economically. This was the year that the United States was dealing with the aftermath of the Vietnam War, social unrest, and political upheaval. On a much smaller scale, however, the minting of coins was also undergoing changes. The 1968 Lincoln cent was the last of the large copper cents to be produced, as the US Mint would switch to a copper-plated zinc composition in 1982 due to the rising cost of copper. For this reason, 1,968 cents are often valued more by collectors who focus on the historical significance of the coin. The 1968 Lincoln cent features the famous Abraham Lincoln portrait designed by Victor David Brenner, which has been used on the obverse of the coin since its debut in 1909. On the reverse, you can see the familiar wheat stalks, a design that was in 1909 place until 1958. The coin's design is simple but elegant, embodying a lasting tribute to one of the greatest figures in American history. Mintage figures for the 1968 Lincoln cent show that over 4.2 billion were struck across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Despite this high mintage number, a coin's value isn't solely determined by how many were produced. In fact, the 1968 Lincoln cent is not commonly found in higher grades, which increases its value. In fine condition, you'll notice a fair amount of wear, but the Lincoln portrait and details on the reverse should still be distinguishable. Now let's talk about some key features that make the 1968 Lincoln cent valuable. The coin itself is relatively easy to find in circulation, but there are certain factors that can push its price up. First and foremost, you need to consider any errors or varieties that could increase the value. While the 1968 Lincoln cent isn't known for having many major varieties, there are some notable errors to keep an eye out for, such as double die obverses or repunched mint marks. These errors are rarer, and their discovery can dramatically raise the value of the coin. In terms of market value, the 1968 Lincoln cent in fine condition is generally worth around $1 to $2. However, if the coin is in excellent condition or has an error, the value can rise significantly, reaching up to $10 to $15 or more for higher grade examples. In the rarest cases, a mint state version of this coin could fetch between $50 and $70, particularly if it has a unique error or variety. While it's not one of the highest valued Lincoln cents out there, the 1968 cent remains a must-have for many collectors due to its role in US history and the rarity of high-grade examples. As we move from the 1968 cent, let's now shift our focus to another interesting coin, the 1970 Lincoln cent. Though it's a year that's often overlooked by many collectors, the 1970 Lincoln cent holds some intriguing surprises for those who know where to look. The 1970 Lincoln cent is another coin that carries significant value and historical context. Much like the 1968 cent, the 1970 version was struck during a time when the US Mint was evolving. The year 1970 marked the end of an era for the Lincoln cent, as it was one of the last years to feature the classic wheat reverse design before the introduction of the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. This change was part of a larger effort to modernize the design of American coins and make them more reflective of the country's evolving values. In terms of mintage, the 1970 Lincoln cent was produced in huge quantities. In total, the US Mint struck more than 6.5 billion of these coins across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. While this may sound like a lot, the 1970 Lincoln cent is particularly valuable in higher grades due to its relatively low survival rate in mint condition. In fine condition, you'll find the coin to be worn but still with some detail, especially on the portrait of Lincoln and the lettering on the reverse. What makes the 1970 Lincoln cent so interesting to collectors is that it marks a transitional moment in coinage history. Not only was it the last year before the design change, but there's also something special about the 1970 cent that many people overlook. The key to its value lies in its potential for rare minting errors and varieties. The most famous of these errors is the 1970 S-proof cent, which was accidentally released into circulation in some areas. The 1970 S-proof cent, despite its low mintage of only 2.1 million, was not intended to be used as a regular circulation coin. As a result, it is extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. When it comes to varieties, the 1970 Lincoln cent also features some minor differences between the Philadelphia and Denver minted coins. These subtle changes are difficult to spot, but can add extra value to a coin in high demand. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cent varieties might pay extra for coins with distinct die markers or slight variations in the mint mark position. In terms of value, the 1970 Lincoln cent in fine condition typically falls within the $1 to $3 range. However, if you manage to find a 1970 S-proof cent, or one with a rare error, you could see the value soar into the hundreds or even thousands. The 1970 S-proof cent, for example, can command anywhere from $50 to $100 in lower grades, with mint state examples easily fetching $200 or more, depending on the condition. The 1970 cent is a perfect example of a coin that has a relatively low face value, but could hold significant value for the right collector. As with the 1968 Lincoln cent, market demand plays a large role in determining the value of the 1970 Lincoln cent. While the coin's overall availability might be high due to the large mintage, the rarity of high-grade specimens and error coins continues to drive demand. Many collectors consider the 1970 cent to be a great addition to their collections, and its value will only continue to rise as time goes on and fewer high-grade coins remain in circulation. In conclusion, both the 1968 and 1970 Lincoln cents in fine condition offer interesting glimpses into the evolution of US coinage. While neither coin commands top-tier prices compared to some other rare Lincoln cents, both are significant in their own right. The 1968 cent, with its historical value and role as one of the last copper cents, holds a special place in numismatic circles. Meanwhile, the 1970 cent, particularly with its proof varieties and errors, presents a great opportunity for collectors looking to expand their Lincoln cent collection. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual collector, both of these coins are worth keeping an eye on, as their value and significance continue to grow over time. Thank you for joining us today on NT Coins World. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1968 and 1970 Lincoln cents, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more valuable coin insights. Happy collecting, and until next time, keep searching those rolls. You never know what treasure you might find.